Hey guys, men's dating coach HarryWilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com. And on today's show, we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to go over this thing that I found on Reddit. It's called the 12 ridiculously simple hacks that you can use today that will make women more attracted to you with minimal effort. Now, there are a lot of great tips that are in this list, but there's also a few that could be questionable or that I would recommend against. And so this is something that as you're doing your research into being a better dater, that you have to be mindful of, that there's going to be info out there that is both good and that is both bad. And you have to kind of go with your gut to know which one's which. But I wanted to go over these tips and help you understand which ones I agree with and why the ones that I don't agree with, I feel could be harmful to you. Also, if you're listening to this on a podcast, I highly recommend watching the video version of this because I'm going to actually have the list of 12 things up next to me on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon to be notified when I post up new daily videos. Also, be sure to go to the website to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, as well as hitting on the tip jar tab to show your support, the links of which are at the website and in the description below. Let's get into it. All right, guys, like I said, I found this on Reddit, and it's 12 hacks that are supposed to be able to help you attract more women with minimal effort. Now, I went through this list, and I actually agree with a lot of the things that are on this list, so I'm going to read those to you as well because I want you to get these tips and add them to your repertoire. But I'm also going to point out to you a few things that I disagree with and why I feel that these are not actually things you should do if you're trying to attract women, okay? So let's go ahead and get to the list. So, the first thing that the list says is that you need to change up your style. Get a haircut, buy some more form-fitting clothes, invest in a nice pair of shoes, and a watch. Now, this one I actually do agree with. I was a theater major in college, and the fact that all of our characters that we would play had to have different costumes, it's an important point because the reason they do that is because depending on what you're wearing, it's going to give off a sense of who that character is, what their motivations are, and so forth and so on. And so when you're going on a date, if you're dressing in clothes that are kind of like unkempt and wrinkly and you're not really like dressing your best, well, then you're going to, on some level, not feel at your complete best on the date. And so that's why you want to try to find things that are form-fitting, things that you want your style to feel natural to you, but also feel like something that's going to give women the impression of whatever impression you're trying to give. But, showing the impression of being confident and bold and, being okay with yourself. These are things that are really, really important. And then as you feel better about yourself based on the clothes that you're wearing, then you're going to also be more at ease and less nervous when you go on these dates. And I found for me, like once I was able to improve my style, even just a little bit, the amount of confidence that actually added to me was like completely, I didn't know that would even happen. But the fact that it did, it speaks volumes to how powerful the right clothes and the right gear can be. Now, I don't do all this stuff. I don't like to wear watches. I don't wear jewelry. I don't have tats and things like that. So you got to kind of figure out the advance in style that's still going to be to you without taking you out of your comfort zone. Because I know me, if I'm wearing like a big old necklace and a watch and stuff, I'm going to be focusing on those points on my body and it's going to feel uncomfortable and I'm not going to be my best self. So you do that at your discretion, but I recommend getting like a female friend because women are very good at being able to point out what looks good on you and go to town, have them take you out for a shopping trip and allow them to help you find things that are going to look good on you and make you feel like a new man and a good man at the same time. So that's the first thing on this list. The second thing to say was speak louder. Women are more attracted to leaders and leaders speak to be heard. Also true. Women typically are more soft-spoken and so they're usually looking for their man to be not necessarily like the loudest person in the room, but a little bit more pronounced and louder than they are, And think about it like this. Think about like if you're dating a woman who's like extra loud and boisterous and well, that can come off as masculine in tone and it may turn you off, have a woman that's loud because you're thinking in your head, well, if she's this loud now, she's going to be loud when she's trying to nag me and stuff and argue with me. And that's not the way I want my woman to be acting. And so it's the same with you. They at times equate quietness with not being bold, with not being a person that's going to go out there in front of the family and protect them and stuff like that. So now I will say to say, if you're an introvert who is like typically naturally quiet and doesn't say a whole lot, that is fine. But when you do speak, be more bold in your convictions, say stuff with authority, say it a little bit slower, and also, say it with a little bit more loudness in your voice than talking like this where they can't really hear you all that much. Like, make sure you can be heard when you are saying things, okay? Let's see, the third thing they say here is speak lower / deeper, which I just said. Don't go all Morgan Freeman on them. But women love a man with a deep, sexy voice. Find the lowest point of your natural speaking voice and get used to using that. So for you guys that might have a voice that's a little higher in pitch, you can still talk at a level that's where it comes down a little bit for your tone and pitch, okay? And a lot of that will happen if you talk slower. Because for some reason, as you talk faster, your pitch goes up. So if you're able to kind of elongate your words, the middle tone of your voice is going to be deeper by default, okay? So that's a good one too. Number 4, it says have good eye contact. This doesn't mean to stare women down like a serial killer, but it does mean to work on connecting with women via eye contact. Don't avoid it. Yes, and women will sense in you that you are fearful or nervous around women simply by the act of looking away from them while you're talking. Okay. And this is a bad habit that we learn as kids, because as kids, when you're in school, adults are taller you and are trying to intimidate you and lead you. And so a lot of times kids get really fearful of looking at adults in the eye. And I was taught as a kid, my mom taught me from early age, hey, when you talk to people, make sure you're looking them in your eye. And I had to practice that at home. So when I would go out into the world at school, honestly, some teachers were freaked out because I would look at them in the eye like trying to have a conversation and they're waiting for me to turn away and I'm not. So it sucked back then because it's like I'd get in trouble because teachers think I'm trying to like be all cocky because I'm looking at them in the eye. But it's like, no, that's how I was taught. But in terms of dating, it's worked very effectively because just the act of looking at a woman in her eyes shows that you don't fear her, shows that you know that whatever you are saying or talking about or dealing with her in a situation that you're confident in. And that confidence is one that really turns women on. And they have so many guys out there that because they're too pretty or whatever are looking away from them thinking they're not worthy. You looking at a woman says, I know that I am of value and that I'm actually as valuable as you are, if not more. Okay. So start doing that. When you talk to women, just start practicing looking directly in their eyes. And again, not in a creepy way, but look at them as if you're saying, I'm really taking in what you're saying to me right now. So I'm going to look at you because I know the eyes are the gateway to the soul and you want me to feel what's in your soul right now. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Stop turning away. It's a very good point. Number 5, it says meditate for 15 minutes. Presence is a powerful tool when it comes to communicating with others, and meditating can put you into the right headspace for attracting women. Now, I am not personally a guy that meditates. Not that I think it's bad. I just don't do it. But the nice thing about being an introvert is I get to decide when I have my alone time. And before I go on any first dates, I make it a point to spend the majority of the day by myself because that is where I'm most comfortable, is being in my aloneness. So I own that. I accept it. I, watch videos and I'll be around my apartment pacing around and reading stuff and cooking stuff and whatever. But I make sure I really foster in that alone time to give myself time to think, to relax, to be happy about anticipating the date, but not being so nervous about it. If you are not taking that time as an introvert before your dates to just be alone by yourself, then that could really be a disservice. So whether that means for you that you're meditating or you're just spending time by yourself until that date happens, make sure you take that quiet time to really just kind of center yourself, get back to who you are, and then go out there and have fun. So that's a really good point too. The next point, okay, so this one says, be honest and direct about your intentions. Women can tell when you're being inauthentic or trying to be confident, which means you aren't. Being honest and direct will instantly improve the way women respond to you. So there's parts of this that I agree with and parts of this that it's a bit of a misnomer, okay? So the part where they say women can tell when you're being inauthentic or trying to be confident, the reality is you right now might not be the most confident guy in the world. And the only way you're going to get to that point in your life is practicing. So yeah, when you first start going on dates and you're trying to practice being confident, you're gonna feel weird and awkward, and it might come across as weird and awkward. Very important, you have to go through that awkward phase. You have to go through the phase where it feels more like you're faking confidence than having confidence in order to build to it. Because confidence isn't just something you just magically get up with. Confidence is actually a habit. Yes, let me say that again. Confidence is actually a habit, meaning if you have not been in the habit of, talking to yourself in a kind way or testing out ways to build confidence, then until you're able to practice that regularly, it's going to come off as weird and inauthentic. And you know what? That's fine. That might mean you go on a few dates where it's probably not going to work out, but you're doing it so you can get into the practice of You know, so take a step for me, like I wasn't the best at small talk when I first started dating. So imagine if I'd been like, well, I just don't want to do small talk because if I do it, I'm going to be weird and awkward and be inauthentic. Like I would never get to the point where I could legitimately do small talk. And as an introvert, introverts hate small talk. But in terms of the dating aspect of things, it's the gateway to be able to get to deeper conversations. So I had to practice. I would prep questions beforehand to ask women on the dates, and I'd write them down on loose leaf paper and keep it in my pocket so I could look at it when they went to the bathroom. I would go on practice dates with female friends of mine just so I can get to the habit of, being able to plan a date, being able to talk on a date, being able to execute certain things on dates. And as I did that, I got better and more confident each time to where now it's effortless. Now, even though I'm still not a big fan of small talk, I know how to generate small talk and then lead it to a bigger, deeper conversation, okay? But that's the thing. You have to practice it. So you're not going to necessarily know right away. So what you don't want to do is go on a date and be like, hey, so just so you know, I'm really bad at small talk and, I'm really kind of nervous around pretty women like you. Like it sounds like it should be a thing that's flattering, but most women are trying to date more confident men. So when you say that, it just lets them know, oh, he's not confident. Oh, he's getting nervous. And then you're projecting that nervous energy. So now she's either nervous or thinking this is awkward. And there's no need to say that. There's no need to ever tell a girl on a first date, hey, just so you know, I'm nervous too. Because honestly, most of them are probably nervous also. And the last thing they want is her to be nervous and then for her to be dating a guy that's nervous, which means he's not going to be able to lead this into a fun situation. Like she wants to feel like the guy's got this. The guy's going to be able to know where to take me, know the conversations to have. And again, it comes with practice, but you don't have to verbalize that you're feeling this nervousness. Like that is not a thing that's ever going to help you. So I do not agree with that part, okay? Also this thing of like sometimes when you're on dates, women will be like, so like, what are your intentions with me or what do you plan to do? And honestly, early on, your only intention is to find out about a girl. So this isn't anything that needs to be a long, drawn-out conversation, right? For a first date, you don't know if it's going to go long-term or short-term, or if it's going to end up just being a hookup situation. Like you don't know that on the first date. So when women ask you this, you can just say, right now, I wanted to take you out. I thought you were attractive or whatever. And I think that I just want to explore and see what else was there. And that's really all I know right now. As we go out more, it might get deeper or whatever. But right now I'm just trying to enjoy this moment and see where this moment leads us. And be that guy. That's like, I like to live my dates moment to moment. So you could be thinking, I would potentially like to take this somewhere, but for a first date, you're not going to know that. Prior to the first date, you don't know how she eats or how she talks or how she treats other people, or if you guys have the same similar goals or same religions or same politics. You know none of that stuff. So don't think you have to have a mapped out plan for a woman prior to a first date. Like on that first date, you'll get a better sense of if you want to take this more places. And if you don't, that's fine. But the whole intentions thing and the whole like how to be honest with how you're feeling and how nervous you are, like, please don't do that. That's really bad information and really bad advice. The next one. Oh God, the next one. Here we go. Express your emotions. Kind of like the last point, but here I want to emphasize, if you're feeling nervous when approaching an attractive woman, telling her, I'm really nervous, but wanted to come say hi to you, takes the weight off of your shoulders to perform and allows for an honest interaction to come together rather than both of you performing for one another. So here's the problem I have with this, okay? It's all about whether or not the woman feels obligated to do something. And what you don't want to do is pressure a woman into feeling as though she has to perform in a way that's going to be pleasing to you so you won't feel nervous. Okay. So for example, let's say you go up to a woman and you follow this guy's advice and say, hey, just, I'm like really, really nervous, but I wanted to say hi. Now this woman's going to feel like, okay, now I have to talk to him because he's telling me that all these other people have probably rejected him because when they're pretty, they treat him bad. So now I got to be the one to talk to him. And she might not have time to talk to you. She might not find you as attractive and want to talk to you. And again, you're coming to her saying you're really, really nervous. So now it's almost like you're giving her the pants of the situation before there's even a relationship. And that's not something women want to take on. So you can go up to a woman and say, hey, I just wanted to come say hi to you. I don't want to ruin your day, but I just want to say hi, what's up? You can say that kind of thing without having add on, oh, and by the way, I'm really nervous and I was scared to come talk to you and this and that. Like, making these pronouncements about being overly nervous around a woman or being scared to talk to her or feeling like you were beneath her league, none of these things build attraction for her. Okay, so you might have these feelings, keep them to yourself, especially when if you're trying to do a cold approach like this guy did an example, you don't want a cold approach saying, hey, so I was looking up to you and I just hope it's okay if I talk to you, princess. Like, don't give off that vibe. Give off the vibe of a guy that's confident and bold and it's coming over. Hey, I don't want to ruin your day, but I just want to say I thought you're very attractive and beautiful and I was hoping I could get your number. Like, that approach will work better than, oh, and I'm so nervous. Like, don't say things that are going to kill the approach and make you look weak just to get her attention. Like, that doesn't actually work as well as it does in the movies and on songs, okay? So don't follow that one. Let's see, coming on, it says, have open body language. Standing with your arms crossed, not looking in the direction of woman you're talking to isn't exactly a turn on. Open up your body and let it communicate alongside you. Yes, you want to have open movements, which indicate that you are open to her presence and open to her coming into your field of touch or whatever it is, okay? So yeah, when you're talking, make it a point to really observe what you're doing with your body language. And I do this all the time, where like, say I'm talking to somebody and I start crossing my arms. It might just be because I'm just comfortable in that moment crossing my arms, but this is a universal sign of I'm not really agreeing with what you're saying. And so if you're mindful of that, you'll know, oh crap, they're talking about something important, or they want me to agree with them on a point. Let me move my arms and not do that, okay? And it's these subtle body movements that you might not think are all that important that can actually make a big difference between a woman being able to tell or think that you find her attractive and a woman that's like, well, I don't know what he's thinking or feeling. And just to clarify, I know on this show I've said before, it's good to have a woman not always know what you're thinking or feeling to build attraction, and that's actually true. But you are also trying to build connection. So in terms of building a connection with the woman, arms being folded, turning away from her, those are things that it's not just that she doesn't know, there's now a disconnect. And if you're creating disconnect, then you're going to create problems for you trying to build a connection. So try to have a more open body language when you're talking to a woman, so she'll feel that if nothing else, you are connecting with her on some level, even if she doesn't yet know what that level is, okay? Continuing, let's see, it says, use humor. Women love a man with a good sense of humor. This doesn't mean you have to be the funniest guy in the world, and it certainly doesn't mean you become a dancing monkey that entertains her. It simply means you can tell and take a good joke. Now, this needs to be more clarified, because a lot of guys make the mistake of thinking, well, I'm not a jokester. I don't tell funny jokes. I don't know funny jokes. I don't know how to tell a story in a funny way. Therefore, women are not going to find me attractive. Here's the secret, guy. When women are highly interested in you, by way of being around you, they're going to laugh. And they're going to do things that indicate a jovial mood around you. So what that means is that you could just be your regular self and just be talking regularly, and women that find you attractive will find things that are funny to laugh at. Not that they're laughing at you, but they're laughing because they're giving off that thing of like, I'm just so joyfully happy this guy's saying this thing or doing this thing, and I like the energy he's giving, to where I can't help but laugh, which indicates that I feel good and comfortable and safe around him. So you don't have to be a complete jokester in order to get women to laugh. If they like you enough, they're going to laugh. But with that said, just know that if you throw in a little funny comment here and there, or a little sarcastic remark that's not sarcastically mean, but just something that's like sarcastic, observationally, whatever, that those little things that you think are just kind of like throwaway comments will get a decent sized chuckle from women, especially if they're attracted to you. Number 11 is playfully tease her. Being able to tease an attractive woman shows her that you're game to have some fun and that you're also not scared of losing her. Yeah, don't be afraid to make teases at women here and there. And again, I always try to press that you don't want to do it in a way that's malicious or that is like going against like some part of her body or whatever. But yeah, teasing with like little comments here and there or whatever, like it indicates playfulness and it indicates flirtation, and it's things that can help escalate a woman's attraction for you. And then the 12th thing is implement the 80-20 rule. Have her talk more. You should be talking 20% of the time. She should be talking 80%. Oh, this is number 11. You should be talking 20% of the time. She should be talking 80% of the time. And this is very true. And this goes back to like the whole thing of, not knowing necessarily what to say on dates, or, not being able to come up with questions. The reality is that you ultimately want her to be talking a lot more than you. Women by just nature are typically more wordy. They tend to want to talk a lot. They have descriptive details of things that they want to talk about. So you could ask a woman a simple question as, hey, so tell me about your day. And they're going to go into all the minute details that you think might be unimportant, or you might be thinking like, I just wish she'd get to the story. But the point is, she's saving you a lot of time having to talk. And I know as an introvert, you only want to talk anyway when it's absolutely necessary. And women want that too. So it actually works out great in terms of her dating you as an introvert, because you're going to let her talk most of the time. You're going to ask open-ended questions that allow her to talk more and thereby allow you to get to know more about her. And then when she asks you a question, you're going to still answer with however long you would normally answer it, but don't think that you have to come up with extra stuff to say or galvanize the conversation. Most women think that, funny enough, guys talk too much about themselves anyway. So going on a date with you, where she's able to actually open up more about herself, you're going to look like the king of the world to her. So keep that in mind, okay? And then the last one is have fun. Women aren't attracted to logic. They're attracted to emotions. That, again, that's only partially true, because women don't want to date dumb dudes, okay? Now, it's not that women have to date the smartest guy in the world, but there's going to be a subject or a hobby of some kind that you're really, really into. And when you're able to sound knowledgeable about that thing that you're interested in, that's where the whole thing of being attracted by logic comes into play. Like, oh, this guy's done a deep dive into this thing. This is showing that he has passion about it, that he's able to care about something in a real way. And then that hopefully will translate to me when we start dating. Oh my God. So yeah. And the whole emotional part, I think men mix this up, because I think that means that they have to be overly emotional. And the only thing women care about is that you're protective of their emotions. They could really give a crap about you showing your emotions or having to be a guy that cries or saying all these sensitive words all the time. But she does want you to be respectful of her emotions and what she emotionally needs in order to feel connected to you, okay? You ain't got to be the most emotional guy in the world. And trust me, not only am I an introvert, I'm also a Capricorn. And Capricorns are typically like, it's not that we don't care, but in terms of showing emotions or the type of emotions that are like overly sensitive or soft, we just don't do that. Like my way of showing emotions is I'll help a woman fix her tire, or I'll buy something she might have mentioned like 5 days prior that she didn't think I was paying attention to, but I did. And I'm still showing those moments that I care, but I'm showing that she's emotionally connected to these things and I'm able to do them. Therefore, I look like an emotional guy when it's really just me being able to respond to how they best receive the emotional care that they need to want to feel cared for and be with me, okay? So be mindful of that. You ain't got to be overly emotional. Women like guys that are smart, that know how to analyze stuff. Part of the reason women like guys that are jokey is because in order to be able to tell a joke, you have to be able to do some like verbal gymnastics and make connections to things that are logical enough to make funny. So in a sense, by them wanting guys that are funny, they are looking for guys that are intelligent and smart and logical, okay? So overall, I'd say this list is pretty good. There were like 3 things on here that I was either like kind of like it's halfway correct, but not really, or I just don't agree with altogether. But that's the thing, guy. You have to ultimately be mindful when you're going through this stuff. Even for my stuff, you guys listen to all these shows that I do, and there might be points that you agree with and points that you're like, you know what, Harry? I don't quite agree with that point there, and this is based on my experience and blah, blah, blah. And that's totally fine. You have to be able to discern for yourself what you feel is going to work, but really listen to your gut. You could try out all the things on this list and then see what the reactions are that you get, and then make a determination from yourself based on these things about whether they really are effective for you or if they could use some different way of approaching it based on you and how your life is running with your dating life. Now that you've heard from me, I'd like to hear from you. What other dating hacks do you feel would be effective in being a better dater? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment down below or write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Are you ready to learn killer icebreakers that attract women on dating apps? Go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now to watch my free video training, How to Get Attractive, Feminine, Emotionally Stable Women Dying to Respond to Your First Messages on Dating Apps Without Using Sleazy Pickup Lines, which will give you key insights to sparking attraction and conversations with women online the smart way. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode, and catch new episodes 7 days a week right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out these other episodes so that you too can learn how to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.